New Frontier Craft Pre9-1.8.4. I guarantee this will be the last pre-update before I am totally satisfied with a pretty balanced ore generation. If I make any more changes in the future, it'll be a pretty minor tweak as far as I know, and it wouldn't really affect your game too much. Just more people in the future coming into NFC to affect their worlds. One nice thing about this is you guys are not going to have to update anything. I put in the client oil. I implemented oil in pre-7, pre-8, one of those two. And this has been added into the server, and the server generation has been tweaked, which means I'm going to have to remove the world and start a new one. And if you guys actually put a lot of time into something, into this NFC world we've had for a few days, please tell me, and I'll try to copy your house out, because this world is not made for you to build stuff just yet. It's made for us to test together. So that being said, if you want to help me out the most you can, help me test out the server by going on there and just giving me information of how quickly you find stuff, how fast you transfer from one tier to the next. That'll be really helpful. So don't plan on building anything big just yet. Once we hit official 1.8.4, that's when you can do that. So one thing to know is if you have, or since you guys aren't going to install any updates on your pre-8 update on the client, I'm just going to update the server to the new generation. If you make a single player world, the generation's not going to change. So play on the server, unless you guys really want a pre-9 update. Then I could give you guys files to make a quick install. But I think we could all just go on the server and test through that. I think that would be much easier. And then we'll all be together more. So what I changed from pre-8, for most of the higher tier stuff, I pretty much totally tweaked everything from tier 5 through 7. Because I noticed I was finding them still pretty quickly right after I found tier 4, because what I want to happen is it's going to be a much slower pace from going from tier 0 through 3. That should be fairly quick. But 4 seems to come along really quickly, mostly because iron instantly gives you tier 4 through steel. But even then, I don't know why, even though I have the ore generator pretty low for tier 4 to find those metals naturally, you still seem to find them quite often. Once you hit tier 3, they almost immediately come. I don't know why. So what I did was I shrank how far those can expand. But that's all I did to those two tiers. The rest of the tiers, I basically clumped them together more. Like instead of every 8 chunks, or instead of every 5 chunks, 5 tungsten generated, now it's every 8 chunks, 8 tungsten generates. It's a little more rarer, but more in the amount. It's a little bit more like the old NFC generator, but not too much. It was a little extreme in the old generator. Because and this is a problem. If you find a really big cave, which isn't too hard to do in Minecraft, you can jump from tier 0 all the way to 6, which is what happened in one mega cave I found when I settled down my home. Now an average cave will, average sized, pretty decently sized cave will give you tiers 0 through 4. But I want the higher tiers to become harder to find and not as quick, and you have to dig around a bit for other extra caves that are closer to the bottom of the world, or build large mines if you're one of those people, and that's how you eventually start finding those tiers. But as long as you find a mega cave, you can go all the way up. I found emeralds in one cave. I went all the way from stone to emerald. And, it was a huge cave. I still haven't explored all of it in my single-player test world. But, yeah, it's kind of a problem if I want it to be a little bit more of a slower development, because those caves can reveal so much at lower levels. I'm not too sure what to do about that, if I'm actually going to decrease the amount of how many caves can be carved out in one section, if I'm actually going to edit the caves at all. I don't know, those are things to think about. Post comments of what you think I should do below. Because if I do change caves, either it's going to be I make it less possible for a ton to generate near each other and reveal a lot of one area, or I'll just make larger caves, like large, huge cave systems, not as common. Unless I just edit the ores again if I think we're still finding them pretty fast. Now, things to consider as I make the last pre-update, hopefully to official 1.8.4. Although those might be revealed still sort of quickly through the new gen, I mean, eventually we're going to have a higher level of difficulty surviving alone once I make some updates to survival and some updates to weapons. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to survive in caves, but I don't know. We'll have that in mind, but I don't know if it's going to be too large of a difference, because even if I made it harder for me to survive in a cave, I don't know if that would affect me too much in finding a lot of ore in a really big cave. Along with have in mind that in the future, there's going to be a lot more automation to mining, like how there was in Buildcraft, but a little bit different. So in the future, you can go to the point where you really don't even go in the caves that much anymore. You just stay at the top making machines. Now, as we approach official 1.8.4, and we're going to have a vote here. So things to consider on this vote is I'm going to give a couple of options and a couple of ideas on what I should do next. And these are the big ideas I'm going to do in the next couple updates. I might not do all of them, but there's ones I'm definitely going to do. And the ones I'm definitely going to do is more metal processing, which is you have to have more upgraded furnaces to burn certain tiers, and it's going to give more alloys I'll add into the game. So it's not just going to be brass, bronze, and steel that aren't naturally generated. There's going to be a lot more added. Along with new furnaces, certain ones that are more efficient, certain ones that are made for burning high tiers and are not efficient. Another is a basic aesthetic update, I think that's how you say that, where in the foliage.png, or how your terrain is colored, I'm actually going to add in a couple of pixels that will make alpha colors, along with I'm going to add in some new blocks like sandstone bricks, possibly one more stone brick, a new form of regular brick, and a new way to create regular bricks. That'll make a lot more when you craft it, and it'll be a little bit easier, but you need a couple different resources with it. Just a couple more building materials that I'll be adding in that aesthetic update. I might also do some retexturing with NFC tools and possibly even vanilla Minecraft textures, but I don't know if I'm going to go there. That update will probably be a lot quicker than the usual update, or versus some of these other updates I'm going to go on. Another update, which this won't be too long, and this will be a basic survival update, where I'm going to test more if hunger is something that I could actually do. It's going to be way, way, way different from modern Minecraft's hunger. It would be a significant overhaul to go at again. I mean, that could be totally junked depending on if I think it's applicable at all. I mean, what I'd basically do is over time, instead of you having a hunger bar, you slowly lose health, and that amount of losing health slowly grows. So once you eat something, that growing amount of losing health will go back to 0, and then it'll slowly grow again. So eating food won't only stop the hunger slowly chopping you down, but it'll also re-heal you. It's not like there's going to be a separate hunger bar. I might make some changes to where you get food, and I would plan for it to be fairly minor. I'm going to try to make it mostly cohesive with as Minecraft is right now. Another update, which this would be a pretty significant and big update, is a weapons update, which I'm going to add in, instead of, depending on the sword, like, the variables for what a sword can do is pretty much its amount of damage and its durability. And the same goes for armor, which is how much damage it prevents and its durability. I'm going to extensively expand that, not just with armor and weapons, but arrows. I'm going to add in a crossbow, I'm going to add in a longbow. Those will have its own unique attributes along with the regular bow. I'm going to add in the quiver, which Notch actually had an image for. And I'm going to use that same image, and you would put it on your back in order to load it. So instead of having more armor, you'd have more shots with you. And I'm going to totally balance what happens if you fire a regular arrow or a quivered arrow. And they're going to have different aspects to them. Along with, I'm thinking about if one of the aspects to armor is going to be its weight, and it's going to slow you down depending on how much weight you're wearing. And depending on this weight, maybe it'll be a possibility for you to jog or sprint. Now, what I'm not going to do is have it fast enough so that you can totally avoid mobs. I honestly have no idea how I'd incorporate that. I might have it so that you can jog very shortly, but I don't know. I'm going back and forth whether I should add that or not. Because, I mean, the balance to this is if you can sprint without any armor at all, it provides certain advantages and disadvantages because, sure, having armor on and sprinting is just dumb. That's totally unbalanced. But if you don't have any armor on and you're running from a zombie, I mean, you're going to totally run away from a zombie if you don't have any armor on. But you could still get shot by a skeleton, and that could do some serious damage because you don't have any armor on, even though you can sprint. I mean, I might balance that so that you could actually jog a little bit faster, but I'm not going to have it at, like, the sprinting level. That'll be a pretty major update, because just to mention a couple other attributes I'll put in is, like, a sword's knockback, a sword's damage, which is already in there with durability, and what's another one I could name? Its reach, how far it can hit someone. And there's another one that I'll keep concealed so that I'm not just spoiling everything. And another large update that I've been thinking about that would really be quite a dynamics changer to Minecraft would be erosion. This would be a pretty big update because I'd have to edit a lot about how blocks interact, but basically what I'd be doing is water could actually slowly erode things over time. I might change some of water's mechanics, and what I could do through this is create rivers. And rivers that actually slowly cut away at the edges and sort of create a delta into oceans. Not only that, but, I mean, imagine that there's been a cave below you for a long time, and there's been a water source that's been eroding away slowly, and you come down and you finally find it, and, I mean, it would be like water would slowly affect stone, so then it goes to cobblestone, and then pebble, which would be a new thing, and then gravel, and then it erodes away. Or something like that, and you find like this huge waterfall underground that's been eroding away for a long time. I think it'd be really awesome. Along with erosion, I would probably add in not just water's ability to affect things, but like plant life in general. Like if you have grass by cobblestone in the sun, it will slowly become mossy cobblestone, or water by cobblestone in the dark. It slowly become mossy. So when you'd find this waterfall underground, you'd have mossy cobblestone, mossy pebble all over the place, regular cobblestone and gravel everywhere. I think it'd be quite a sight. It'd be quite a project, though. I think that'd be one of the longest ones, along with a weapons update. to make an update on for the next update. So, I mean, I'm personally thinking I was going to do the basic aesthetic update, and then next update, do one of the bigger guys. Unless you guys want another large update, not just a simple aesthetic update next. That'll be a vote down below. I think I might also give you guys multiple choice, so then you don't have only one to pick, but say you like a few, but you don't want one of those, so you can vote for a couple. So yeah, that was a lot of talking, but that is the plans beyond 1.8.4. So I hope to see you on this server once I get it uploaded and fired up.